Yeah, I'm Jenn Bonilla, and I'm here with Captain Hugo, and together we're the co-founders of Positive Polar. Positive Polar is a for-profit business that provides a platform and sustainable funding for ocean restoration and climate restoration projects, much as we've been talking about today. It also builds ambassadorship for such projects. And so we're eager to share that with you. How we do that is we take paying passengers on exciting expedition cruises while we are restoring ocean wildlife and working very closely with scientists. Now, one of the things I want to share with you that I just find so incredible, and I know this audience will really appreciate before I hand it off to Captain Hugo, who really had the vision for this company, is something that we all know, and that is that whales really used to, light our homes. They're oil-fueled lamps that fueled human progress through the night, and today we know so much more about what whales do for us. But I found this kind of quote very interesting, especially given the timing. You can see even as long ago as first century, man suspected that whales do so much more in the ocean. And now we know that they're essential for marine ecosystems and likely essential for managing our climate. But when we hunted the whales so extensively, we of course removed so many of them. Again, no judgment there. But there's 70%, at least 70% fewer whales in the sea today, by most estimates, than what should be there if we had not had industrial whaling. So that means there remains an imbalance in the ocean, and we've been talking a lot about what some of the consequences of that imbalance might be. And Captain Hugo is going to say more about how Positive Polar helps to address this imbalance and support the science around that. Hugo.
Please tell us about yourself.
Oh, I forgot to mention, because I was introduced earlier, I'm Jenn Bonilla, and I've been working in translating science into profitable businesses for many, many years at the top companies in the world. And today I continue to work, of course, with Positive Polar as my true passion, and also support the Moffitt Cancer Center.
Yes, thank you very much, Jenn. Well, have been introduced, but just want to add some key points. Well, I'm a former, from the reserve, really from the Chilean Navy. Chilean Navy. I'm a staff officer. I'm a sailor, a naval engineer, rescue helicopter pilot, and now proudly an entrepreneur. And I will tell you how everything started, because how this Chilean captain is here, right? It's kind of from the out of the box. I did grow in Patagonia. And I did enjoy winter just like the winters that I was seeing in the 80s in the movies of Christmas of your hemisphere. So I did have one of the best childhoods ever, I think, in growing in Patagonia, ice skating in lagoons and everything. And then when I had my own child, I was expecting my child to have the same in Punta Arenas, to them to ice skating freely in the lagoons and playing with snow and everything. But happened that most of the time it was raining instead of snowing. And they have to stay inside the house. So I was kind of shocked, and I start, okay, there's something I have to do. I have to research. I'm an engineer, so I have to research also. And it happened during those years, it happened three experience that I have. The first one was in the year 2008. Was my first trip to Antarctica. And I was arriving to Antarctica, and they called us for an emergency. A cruise ship was having an emergency. And I was in charge of the Chilean Navy helicopter squadron. So I did have to talk with the captain and prepare the rescue. So we rescued all of them successfully, and we put it on board. And I was expecting the typical cruise people that you were seeing in the movie, but they were kind of different. They were different in the good aspect. They were very respectful, and I will tell you more later about this type of passengers. Then I was in charge of the Chilean Navy icebreaker. So I did work with scientists from all over the world, and I did realize that they were always asking me to do much more than the budget that they have. So they were always asking to me, oh, can we go farther? Can we sail farther? Can we fly farther? I was also flying helicopters there. And no, the limit is the budget is just what you have. So one idea was coming to my mind. So I decided to confirm that idea, and I decided to start working as a commercial helicopter pilot in the expedition cruise lines. And that was where my idea was confirmed. These passengers were, and this where I met Jenn. These passengers were wealthy, educated, and eager to do something positive about the nature. So I said to myself, well, why don't we solve the problem of lack of funds and popularity for ocean restoration, bringing this wealthy guest together with the scientists? So finally they will eager to see, enjoy, and finance this work. Because as I said in the morning, you love and support what you experience. So, and what we are going to do specifically, or we have already heard about that, the whale pump, right? Whale feel deep in the sea, then release this iron-rich bio-iron, right? It's not a, so it's a, these fishes create this bloom of phytoplankton that are essential for fish in the sea. But when we catch almost all of the whales, that circulation was almost stopped, right? So what we are in the situation that we are right now is like just like if you arrive to a home that you buy and the garden is totally dry. What do? You put nutrients. So that's what we are going to do. Put nutrients in the sea, mimicking something natural, mimicking the whales that will finally restore the ocean wildlife. What for? To bring balance back. And we knew that we needed a ship, and a ship to be able to combine these two experiences was not so easy to find. We have identified 2 ships, and these ships they have finalized his campaign in Antarctica, and now they are going to the Arctic. They are fully booked. People love these ships. But the company that has already invested a lot in remodel all of the guest experience, they don't want it anymore. Why? Because in the middle, they have a huge space that for them is not useful. It's the car deck area. But for them, it's not useful. For us, it's gold. Why? Because we are going to put there the science labs. And also have the space for storage of the nutrients that we need to mimic the whales. So, in consequence, we can transport up to 5,000 passengers per year, showing this science to wealthy, educated people that finally will create a movement. So that's what we said, that this is finally an ocean restoration embassy. That is what we want to create. So finally, to this work to be known. And this ship is capable, this more numbers here, 200 tons of iron sulfate. That is enough for having these passengers seeing during all of the trip how we fertilize the oceans. So in consequence, instead of having an asset that is kind of half used or underutilized, we are going to fully monetize an asset that exists already there. Thank you.
You want to say something else about the
Oh,
itinerary?
yes. Sorry, I forgot about the itinerary. So also something very important is the itineraries, right? The itinerary has to be a perfect mix between what is needed for the scientist and also to have the guest a good experience. And we have an incredible team that Jenn will focus, and she will tell more. But with them, we have designed these itineraries, and it's just like I did in the Navy. In the Navy, I did arrive with the Chilean Navy icebreaker. The scientists, we did deploy the scientists, and meanwhile they were doing their work, we were doing maintenance of the lighthouses. Well, now we are going to deploy the scientists again in Antarctica, and instead of maintaining lighthouses, we are going to show the guests all of the experience in Antarctica, showing them the wildlife, the penguins, the vices, and everything. So we are going to just reply this model into a more cruise business model that is finally needed. Please, Jenn.
Yeah, I'll just say I'm an avid expedition cruiser, so I like to take a lot of trips around the world of different kinds, safari or otherwise, but I really love being on the ocean, really love being on an expedition cruise. If you haven't done it, you must. You are off the ship every day. You're hiking or in a Zodiac, you're getting close to nature, you're experiencing, feeling, touching otherwise. What is Antarctica? What is the Arctic? What are these special places? What I'm excited about when it comes to these itineraries is indeed they're useful for the scientists, but they're also really exciting for guests. They're going to have lots of opportunities to see incredible beauty and have many interactions with whales, which are such a charismatic species, of course. And our guests can feel proud. They're making a positive impact everywhere we'll cruise. We'll say more about that business model and what happens with the money that they put into buying their ticket. But I do want to say it is a cruise. So it's very important that guests, when you pay to go on an expedition cruise, it is in the most profitable area of cruise because it's not cheap. And we want to make sure that our guests have the most incredible experience. So yes, if you come and cruise with us, you are going to see penguins and all the things you expect, or polar bears if you're in the Arctic. But you also have the opportunity to be a kind of a whaler for a day, go out with some of the scientists tagging whales or flying drones to capture biosamples through the blow. Oceanographer for the day, do some data science, do some data modeling on ocean data, really geek out with some of the buoys and some of the technologies that are being tested. And of course, citizen science. So that already takes place on some cruise ships today, and I find it really fun when I'm on a ship to do citizen science, whether it's collecting water samples or counting whales of different kinds or certain bird things you do. All of it's super helpful in creating and gathering real-life observational data that helps scientists, of course, with their models. We'll be doing that, but also guests get to enjoy every evening, spa, gym, yoga, hot tub. It's an incredible ship. We are the first and only cruise company that will deliver both enriching and entertaining experiences while making a net positive impact, not just mitigating our impact, which we will do through carbon neutral fuel and other measures to make sure we are not polluting the environment, but we will actually be leaving a positive impact because we're performing truly relevant science in a public and publishable way so that everyone learns and we hope accelerate this critical work in the ocean. Our business model is what you might expect from a cruise. Passenger cruise days times ticket prices plus onboard sales. Again, very attractive, profitable model. And we also deliver cargo to hard-to-reach communities and to bases. And this is a conversation already been had with Greenland and other places where they look forward to us bringing medical supplies and other things that are very expensive and very easy for us given the nature of the ships that we're going after. And in Chile, of course, Antarctica. With Hugo's great military history, we have a lot of connections to be able to support the bases as well. And the point of that is not because it's a huge revenue driver, but it's resiliency. During the pandemic, when all the cruise ships were stopped, the only ships that were moving were the ones that were moving cargo. So being able to continually deliver cargo allows us then, should there, God forbid, be another situation where cruise ships have to stop carrying passengers, we can still stay operational, we can still stay in business. But really importantly for the business model is, and for our scaling our impact, is to be a platform. I hope that many of the scientists and the technologies that we heard discussed today, I hope those people and their associates come to our ship and use the ship, use the platform, lease space, or perhaps let's develop a different kind of partnership, because we want to make sure that that work continues. We'll put 5% of the top-line ticket sale money into the carbon restoration projects. That's about $5 million a year just with the first ship, and more, depending on how we do with other sales and other initiatives. But $5 million a year is not bad to start putting after some important work. And that's this picture here. So looking forward to doing that in, again, a way that I'm familiar with, coming from the area of cancer science, where we'll put out an RFP, we'll work with advisors to choose the best projects, grant awards, and deliver quarterly reporting very publicly to ensure that we're making progress and we're building advocacy. And with that advocacy, I expect that $5 million a year, which comes directly from our top-line ticket sales, to exponentially grow as people get excited about the work that we're supporting. So this is sustainable funding, and that's just the first ship. We'll certify our positive impact, and we're excited with what we saw happen with Jigablue in January, where Pure Earth certified their marine CDR approach, and they were able to sell a substantial number of carbon credits to the aviation industry. It's just another way of supporting our investors, and we'll definitely pursue that. It's not the big money driver. And finally, I do want to highlight, though, we have a terrific team. We have the ex-CEO of Albatross Expeditions as our commercial officer. We have the ex-CFO of multiple expedition companies and travel companies as our CFO. We work with Dr. Savoca, who is really very close as well to Victor Smedicek, and others will know him. And of course, Dr. Tim Forrestman, with his incredible pedigree, is also, he's here with us today and is in charge of really supporting us on the programming. So we take this very seriously, and we've formed an incredible team ready to do this work and support it with, I hope, many of you in this room. It's a very efficient model from a commercial perspective. Most of the ticket sales go through travel agencies, and we've been working with them for the past 2 years. So we've got a lot of folks ready to put passengers on our ship. About 75% of ticket sales come that way, and then we're building these communities directly, and look forward to all of the work that I just heard about today and how we can partner with John Bowie and others on that. And just a quick wrap up here. The revenue, this is the first ship, and it's just profitable in its first year of sailing. The blue bars are what you get just from the ticket sales, and the green line are the profits, very marginal contribution from the cargo, that's mostly tickets. And then the carbon credits as a little bit of upside, but really the opportunity is where we support and work together with others to develop valuable intellectual property or data services from the places where we're traveling that could be further monetized and deliver return for our investors and further fund additional ships, additional carbon restoration projects. The point is to build ambassadorship, to do direct work, but really to fuel the movement of science as well as people understanding it, bringing the public close to it. We heard that today. How do people really change behavior? They need to see it, they need to experience it, and I guarantee you if they spend a week next to someone who's really investigating, even if all they're doing is measuring the ocean baseline, we're not putting any nutrients in the water for our first year of sailing, that's just measuring baseline for a year. That alone is going to make a huge difference in public perception of why it's important to think about ocean restoration, biodiversity, and climate restoration at large. Every night you have a captive audience of people who love to go to lectures, see movies, talk over dinner. So much you can get people excited about as they leave the ship thinking much more seriously and positively about how they can help, how they can drive this movement forward. So it truly is building an embassy of climate restoration ambassadors. And again, these are typically people with wealth and influence, so very useful in many ways. So we've put in $2.5 million and invested $2.5 million ourselves and other investors, and we are now raising $2.5 million to finally take possession of the ship because the entire business is built. The team, the booking system, the travel agencies, the operations equipment, the crew management, everything's ready. It's turnkey now, and then we've already identified, like I said, the ship to take possession of in November, and then we would sail with passengers in May 2026, Arctic season. Come on up to Svalbard and see the polar bears. For those who choose to invest with us, I really hope you feel like an owner because you are not doing a philanthropic donation. This is an investment. You are an owner. So please do travel. And of course, there's benefits like you get a 2-for-1, or if you want to and really can put in a lot of money, you can name a lounge or name a suite. I don't know. Naming rights on the ship could be very fun. So yes, we want people to fully feel like an owner because you are.
So it's very important to highlight that you will recover your investment immediately because the ticket of going to Antarctica is more or less the same. So you are going to be owner of a company and also you recover your investment immediately if you invest right now. Yes. So in this 2 years building this idea, transforming into a real company. $2.5 million dollars invested. We are ready to finally start to launch with this company. Now we need only you, all of you, to finally set sail with this dream. And so, as someone else said also, join us. It's not only an expedition, it's an outdoor wildlife adventure on a mission to help the planet. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Happy to take questions.
Questions? Yes, please.
Hi. What is a whale highway?
They're also sometimes called the blue corridors, and those are basically the paths. This is a rough, it's funny to say path when you're talking about the ocean, but whales move through the seas from feeding ground to breeding ground. From feeding ground to breeding ground is a way to think about it.
Yes, well, Tim is specialized on that. Yes. He do lectures about that. He did lectures about that in biking. But it's, yes, more or less. We are always following the summer, are always following the whales. So when in the austral summer, we are going to be there in Antarctica, and then we hit north, we arrive to Panama, we cross the Panama Canal, we arrive to the Caribbean Sea, the whales are having their babies there, and then we are highlighting to the Arctic, where they are going to be fed, and then we come back. So we are always traveling, following the whale highways. That's what we are planning to do. Yeah.
What's your entry investment amount?
Well, it was there. It's 25K is the minimum investment.
25,000, okay.
Sorry, no. That's for direct investment. And if you scan there, you will, as I said, we have also a crowdfunding campaign. So now anyone can invest his $100.
As low as 125K
But in order
to
to
get
get
that.
The 2-for-1?
The trip.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And that's the best way to do it.
That's the 25,000?
Yeah,
Yes.
25,000, and you will recover your investment immediately
Yeah,
once you
absolutely.
travel
It's
with
a
us.
great deal. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Glad you
Right
like
away,
it.
you got it. Yeah.
So how are you quantifying the benefit to the whales? Are you you're measuring or you're getting baseline now, but then you're going to be measuring the increase in nutrients for them? And
That's
and
an
I also
excellent.
wonder how much of a selling point is this for, the whale, Save the Whales community?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We are working with Dr. Matt Savoca, and he has already a science program that we are going to work with drones. The ship is capable to operate with drones. We have the space for that. So the drones are going to be deployed. Meanwhile, we are in Antarctica, taking samples of the blow. So we are going to map how the whales are going to be, if they are stressed or not, where they are really. And then we can coordinate, for example, with the krill industry and say, you know what, the whales are producing a benefit for you. They are circulating there, so don't bother them in this area. Go and catch your krill maybe in this other area. So that's what we expect to do. So the benefit for the whale will be also immediate, even without still putting the nutrients. So that's
Yeah, there was some recent papers published, Savoca Nature 2021 has published around this particular element. So he's created a research agenda around understanding whale stress, whale repopulation, and what small changes we can make, whether it's through shipping corridors or technologies or through shifting the krill industry in one little part of the Antarctic Ocean by just 2 weeks makes a difference in whales. And so we're going to continue to build on his research already well published in Nature, but could go much deeper, and to add this other element of what other technologies might we consider to further restore the ocean, increase biodiversity in the ocean.
Another quantifying question. What capacity do you have to estimate the change in the atmospheric gases, the amount of CO2 that's pulled out of the air from the fertilization?
I think, I'll let Hugo say more, but just to be clear, we are providing a platform for people who are very smart, such as in this room, to do exactly that work. So not to say that I would know, or either Hugo would be the atmospheric engineer around that, but we welcome that technology and science on this ship. to be clear, right? We're a translational platform for important research that could be out, that needs to get out into the deep water, into these parts of the ocean that I know can be very expensive to get to, and yet we have passengers going there all the time, paying to be there. Let's use it. Hey, Paul.
Okay, yeah, Paul Morris from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. I applaud your efforts to try and engage wider community with scientists. Are you planning, or at least going to hire a core scientific team to remain on the ship to welcome scientists on board? And how are you going to engage the wider scientific community to get on board your ship?
Yeah,
Excellent
that's a
question.
terrific question. Yes, indeed. So, again, not to pretend to be a scientist, an oceanographer, neither Hugo or I are that. What we are eager to provide is a platform for academic and translational scientists to do critical work that they find could be useful on our ship. And so that once we have secured the ship, we've already been talking to different scientists for 2 years now. But until we have that ship locked and loaded, we can't put out the request for proposals. Once we put out the request for proposals, not unlike what scientists usually do, what I'm familiar with when you file for an NIH grant or an NSF grant, there's usually a proposal process. You file a summary of what kind of research you would intend to do. We will then work with Dr. Savoca and his contacts as well through Stanford and Monterey Bay Research Aquarium. I would very much welcome participation from Woods Hole in reviewing those proposals, those decisions about the science that could best be done from our ship, given where we're going to be, should be informed by scientists, and we look forward to that kind of participation. Hope that.
And the most important, your work will be known, right?
Yeah.
And just a follow-on question, putting anything over the ship requires permitting through the London Convention, London Protocols. How do you plan to navigate sort of that issue of permitting in order to put things over the side of the ship?
Yeah.
Yes, as we said, well, you are going to be the one that are going to ask for those permissions. We are, we are just the ship platform, right? So we expect that the science projects will be the ones that will use the ship and finally ask for the permissions. We are the platform provider for
so
those
some
projects.
some that we've talked to, if they have an existing open grant or protocol that this may work as part of their existing project, then that would be great. But all done in transparent and appropriate ways is key. We want to ensure we maintain social license as we
For us, the most important is our reputation, because our guests will be the ones that will be paid for this, so we cannot be.
That's right.
Our reputation cannot be questionable. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can take 1 to 2 years to get permits to put things over the side of the ship. So just maybe bear that in mind when you're
Totally fine.
Sort of
Yes.
planning-
Yeah,
planning
yeah,
sort of
'cause,
science engagement
It's a
to
great
do that.
point. It's a great point. You know, scientists can do work today doing assay development, though, right? And that'll be a critical element of work that needs to happen anyway. We talked about it earlier this morning, right? How would we even measure the impact that we would have if we were putting nutrients in the sea? Well, our first year of sailing, at least, needs to be around assay development in the parts of the ocean that we're going to be. Guess what? That is very cool to guess. So I'm very excited to take guests through how you do assay development, how you think about risks and trade-offs, how do you think about complex systems such as oceans. And for many of our guests, you'll find as an expedition cruiser, there is a lot of people on these cruises that are very much like me. They tend to be retired physicians, hedge fund people, people who understand complex systems, and they're eager to understand how what they've learned in their career translates perhaps into something important like climate in the ocean, and we can help them make those connections and show them what we're doing in the ocean. But it's really important to note, while we're excited to get to that point that we're starting to do even small tests of nutrient fertilization, we recognize that we need to first start with assay development. Well, thank you, and I hope that you will please take a book written by Dr. Tim Forrestman in the room. It's a really cute book, so if you have children in your life or just want to read it, you'll enjoy the story. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.